Hi, I'm here today with Sam, and I had a question recently, and someone was asking me what to do about a horse that would barge to go eat grass and that would, overpower her. And so I wanted to answer that question. And so I'm doing a little session with Sam today, and Sam is definitely one of those horses. He's got a dominant personality. He can, sometimes even border on bully. He's also super sweet, and when he's soft and he's yielding, he's a wonderful horse for lessons of beginners. He's just a really great guy. But we had to work on bolting, so he would pull the rope and pull it out of your hand and go. And he's so big and so strong that it was not very hard for him to do. So I want to talk about how I worked with Sam to help him become softer. And so we do a lot of different things. And one of the things that we do in the beginning is setting boundaries. And so that goes two ways. If Sam barges into my space, I'm going to use my wand to make sure that I can keep a space in between us. And so I'm not going to hit him with it. If he runs into it, that is really on him. But I'm going to use it, and I can make noise with it if I need to. The other way I'm going to set a boundary is if he tries to pull, I'm going to get really strong and grounded in my body. So as a yoga teacher, this comes in really handy. I like to use the warrior pose if I need to get extra strong. And so I'm kind of grounding down, aligning my body, keeping pelvis, ribs, skull in alignment, and sinking down so that I'm resisting his force rather than pulling against him. So there's a big difference between pulling and engaging and resisting. So even a big guy like him, I can usually resist if he pulls against me. The other thing is I want him to respond to pressure on the halter by softening into it. And I want that response to get lighter and lighter. So I don't want to have to use so much strength to get him to yield. And so I will work with what I call follow the rope. And I'm just asking him to come with me here. So I want to be able to draw his attention towards me, just moving in the direction I want him to go, and then inviting him to follow the rope. So if he gets distracted over there, I would do follow the rope in this direction. And I want to feel just a soft melting into the pressure from the rope, very light. And I can also, when I stop, just set a boundary for myself. So I'm not actually having to make him stop here. I'm just keeping him attuned, and then he's staying with me when I stop. Another really useful tool to help the horse become softer is the lateral cervical flexion. So again, this is in some other videos, but derived from the Masterson method technique. And so we're releasing tension through the neck. And I've got this hand on the nose. My other hand is following along the cervical vertebrae. So I can start up here at the top, the atlas, where it sticks out, and follow along the neck. So I'm just going to ask him to soften into this. So Sam has done this pretty easy for him. For some horses, this takes a really long time. This is really important. This is going to help him to be able to bend to the rein when we move on to riding. So the more we practice softening to the rope and bending, the easier it's going to be to get the horse to soften when we're leading, for instance. Now, sometimes we can keep the horse on a loose rope and they stay with us, but sometimes they get really distracted. So we can use that softening technique as we go forward to help keep the horse supple and soft and yielding so that they don't brace. So anytime we get a bracing response, we want to set a boundary, wait for the horse to soften into it, and reinforce what we've practiced in our tension release practice. And so if I'm leading a horse and I want to work on keeping him soft, then I can start by using a hand on the side of the halter. And then I've also already worked on getting the horse to go forward with a light tap. So using pressure and release, just tapping lightly as soon as they go forward, releasing. So I'm going to put those together and ask him to go forward. So if the horse starts to brace, it's going to affect the rhythm. I'm going to keep the rhythm the same. I'm also going to ask him to stay soft in his neck here. do that also on the other side. And I can put my hand here or on the side of the halter to ask for bend. Back and forth. So whenever I feel him start to brace, before he takes off the bolt, I'm going to ask for a small movement to release that brace. By keeping my hand in contact with him, I can have a better feel and just keep him continuously soft. So this is what I do in a ride, using the rein to make very small movements to keep the horse soft and supple. Now, that's a good training technique. It's not very practical if you're actually leading the horse. But you can use that as you're doing what I call leading with the wand. And here I can soften the neck and reach around and give a tap if I need to. I can do leading with the wand without holding the halter. And again, using the rope to soften, paying really close attention to maintaining the rhythm. If I stop and the horse bolts, I can use my wand there to stop, what I call stopping the bubble. So when I'm leading a horse that tends to bolt, I'm going to be a little bit more attuned to when they start to brace. I want to try to intervene the minute they start to tense up. And the more I've practiced creating this response of softening and releasing that brace and releasing the tension, the easier it's going to be to use that when the horse starts to bolt. So for instance, going for grass. And again, the other thing to remember with these horses that tend to be a little bit more on the dominant side is to work on setting boundaries and maintaining that personal space. So sometimes using a wand is helpful. You can use the end of the rope. I really like the wand because, especially with a big guy like this, it's easier to reach up and tap. If I have a horse that's kind of nervous and tense, I can just use my hand to lightly tap. All right, I hope that is helpful, and feel free to send me more questions so I'll make some more videos.